What's up YouTube? This is the Gigabyte nvidia GTX 1630 low profile graphics card. This is the graphics card that all the reviewers online say not to buy because it's a potato. But I'll explain why I got it, and then after we'll test it in VR. So let's go over to the room over here where I have it installed. So the reason I ended up getting the 1630 is that I picked up this Acer mini tower for $170 on eBay. It's got a 10th gen i3 in it. It came with 8 gigs of RAM. I did upgrade it to 16 gigs for $50. And an NVMe solid state drive in it. But the Intel graphics didn't really work with some of the old games that I wanted my daughter to be able to play. And I do have one 1080p gaming monitor. And when I play the old Counter-Strike and Team Fortress Classic games, I would like to be able to run it at 144 hertz. So for that you need a graphics card. And the nvidia GTX 1630 is one of the few low profile cards that are somewhat new. And the reason I ended up getting this card is because it has the latest encoding and decoding hardware capabilities for video editing. So it can do HEVC, H.265, I think they're the same thing, just different names for it. So video editing is actually pretty good on this. And in old games, it does hit 144 hertz, 144 frames on the gaming monitor. So the reason all the reviewers hate this card is because the MSRP is $150. Meanwhile, there's the GTX 1650 that is much more powerful, uses I think the same chip and everything, just not so many things disabled on it for speed. But that 1650 had the same MSRP when it came out a few years ago. Meanwhile, this 1630 just came out a couple months ago, and it has the performance of the 2016 GTX 1050 Ti card that had an MSRP of $140 back when it came out. So pricing wise, it doesn't really make sense to buy this unless you need the newer video editing capabilities. So let's strap on a headset for VR, and I think the only game really worth testing here is going to be Alyx, because that is a game that can't be played directly on the Quest 2 anyway. I'm sure a lot of these, like Job Simulator, I Expect You to Die, Hyper Dash, they all probably run anyway and Super Hot, because they already have versions of the game with lower graphics built for the Quest 2 in the first place. But if you want to play Half-Life Alyx, you usually have to spend a lot more money because they do not make it directly for the Quest 2, and the minimum graphics requirement is a GTX 1060, which, considering this card is on par with a 1050 Ti, it doesn't meet the requirements, so it probably won't run well. So let's check it out and see. One thing worth noting, let me get into the specs on this computer here for a second too. 1630, processor is the 10th gen i3, 16 gigs of memory running at only 2133 megahertz. Oh yeah, so the one thing I wanted to mention too is that I could not get the Oculus software to connect to the headset through wireless on this computer. It says it doesn't meet the minimum requirements. So I already had virtual desktop streamer. I just got that installed and it's connected and it shows me the desktop. So let's give this game a try and see how it runs. Okay, we are in virtual desktop now, which seems plenty smooth. I bumped the frame rate down to 60. And it shows 90 megabits a second. I'm turning on the performance overlay so we can see the frame rate or whatever information it gives. And then it was pretty important, I think, to bump this down to potato. And I think even the 970 GTX way outperforms this 1630. So So it'll be interesting to see what kind of quality we get out of it. I bumped environment quality to low, 60 frames a second for that, and let's launch DMVR. Oh, it bumped down to 40 frames a second there, but it looks like we're sticking to the 60. We're close enough to it. And if I turn my head quick, I do see some black bars on the left and right sides a little bit. I don't know if that's going to pick up in the screen recording. So let's do Alyx. I don't know how to skip this intro. So something interesting, I see it's using the HEVC codec, and I don't think, if you were to have, I want to say the GTX 1070 maybe didn't have support for that. I could be wrong on that. I thought that's why I upgraded in the first place, but maybe it was a card before that that didn't support it. So anyway, text is a little blurry. Let's do a few seconds on this save. Text is blurry, but still easy enough to read. Oh. Alright, hang on. Options, movement. I want continuous movement. Okay.
Oh, just so you know, the Russells have a built-in display that shows you resin, ammo, might come in handy.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay, I haven't played this game in a while, so... Just for reference, 99% of my VR time is playing Dirt Rally 2. Not playing shoot games, but I know that will not run on this because my 3880 can barely handle Dirt Rally 2. I don't remember how to put my gun away. Dip down in the 50s there.
Oh boy.
Yeah, be careful.
Prediction, I'm gonna run out of ammo before I mean, shadows. Kinda can't believe a 1630 can do this. go in there. Let's take care of this. $52, 55 frames a second. 47. Should have blown him up.
Nice shooting, Alyx.
Thanks. Thanks, Russell.
Probably worth mentioning too, the other car that everybody says to buy in the reviews is 1650. I bet that would play this pretty decent, but a lot of the reason they say that card is so bad is because they say it has it, and it did have the same MSRP of $150 when it came out. But you can't actually find a low-profile 1650 on eBay or Newegg or Best Buy or anywhere. They're either out of stock or they're in the $230, $240 range.
Get crap!
Alright, let me get out of here and let's see what the temperature on the card is. I don't know what it's doing. Let's just bring the camera over real quick. Alright, so we still have it running. $64 degrees, that's not too bad, I guess. And pretty quiet. It's not really warm yet either. So there you go, the 1630 might be a potato, but it is a potato that can play some VR games. And if you can afford and find a 1650, I would definitely go for that, but 1630 I wouldn't call totally useless. Thanks for watching.